Meghan Markle and Prince Harry made a surprise visit to Homeboy Industries on Tuesday, an organization in Los Angeles that provides support to former gang members and previously incarcerated men and women. Access Hollywood spoke with Father Greg Boyle, who founded the organization in 1986, about the duo's visit to the center. And Father Greg said he was so impressed by the couple's knowledge, compassion, and willingness to jump in head first.
We celebrate here at Homeboy Industries kinship, which is connection, this exquisite mutuality. There is no us and them, there's just us. And boy, did they dive into that. They were just completely anchored in this sense that we belong to each other. And so their interest, their curiosity, their questions, it was really quite probing. At one point, Harry asked one of our workers, a woman, how did she come to Homeboy? And she said, well, through the father of my son. And she burst into tears. And Harry looked at me and I said, he was killed last week. I'm going to bury him this week. And Harry just immediately threw his arms around her and held her. It was so tender and it was so compassionate. And she was so feeling the kind of the rawness of it since it had just happened. But he responded, immediately. And it was a testament to his goodness. If people were immediately vulnerable with him and with her. And her Spanish is quite good. At one point, there was one of the girls in the cafe who Spanish was the dominant language. And Meghan just went into Spanish, which was a revelation to me. And somebody came up to me and said, listen to her, her Spanish is really good. And then I ear hustled at the other end of the table and her Spanish was good. So that was something I didn't know, that she knew how to do it.
Father Greg said the couple was very low-key, and he never once referred to them as Duke or Duchess.
I wouldn't say we did this correctly. We were kind of Harry and Meghan from the gate. When I was on the phone with her, she goes, well, Harry's going to join us in a minute, so it was very informal. And, so I don't know. And so people weren't so much addressing them as engaging them. And again, not many people knew about this. We had, it was sort of a need to know just to keep it under wraps. But our folks there knew, I'm not sure they even knew who was coming to visit, but they knew somebody special was.
As it turns out, this wasn't Meghan's first time visiting Homeboy Industries. Father Greg said while he didn't meet her at the time, a then 20-year-old Duchess and her mother Doria came to learn how to make tamales.
Well, I've been in conversation with Meghan. She, when she was 20 years old, she and her mom came here for one of our tamaladas where our chef at the time would, offer these classes to teach you how to make tamales. And she and her mom came, I think, twice. And she's a graduate of Immaculate Heart High School, so she was very much aware of, social justice issues. And of course, when she was graduating, we were well on our way and established as a place. And and then she and I have been in phone conversation to kind of talk about currently what's happening in our country and a response. And then after that, she approached us and asked if she and Harry could come and just pitch in. It's funny, we have a kind of Immaculate Heart connection. She went to school there. Her kind of most formative teacher, Maria Polilla, we dated in high school, so I've known her forever. And so there was a connection there. I know she had just spoken as a surprise commencement address speaker at her alma mater, and I had just done their baccalaureate mass. So there was kind of a connection. And so we talked about Black Lives Matter because that was, at the time we spoke, was that was a thing that was really quite pressing, protests in the streets. And so she's very attuned to, obviously, to the sense of systemic racism in every corner of our culture and our country. in healthcare and jobs and housing and homelessness and the criminal justice system. So she doesn't need to be brought up to speed on those things. She's someone who will bring the rest of us up to speed. And so